And Edible Canada has been a huge supporter throughout our journey with Thought4Food. They've made adjustments to what their food sampling was going to be when we called and said, we have too much sweet, can you please bring savory? And they've helped us move tickets, and they've really been an extraordinary partner on this. And so on your next foray to Granville Island, do make a point of stopping in and visiting them. Eric has grown this company from a one-man culinary concierge service into one of the leading ambassadors of Canadian cuisine worldwide. They began as Edible Vancouver in 2005, and then they decided to widen their scope beyond the city limits, and they became Edible BC. And then in 2010, hey, Olympics, the world is coming to town. They made the smart move to become Edible Canada. So tourists from all around the world are going home with a lot more than just maple syrup now, and Eric Pateman is one of the reasons for that. He's a Vancouver native with a lifelong passion for food and wine. He's been a chef and a hotel consultant and responsible for the restaurant ratings in the Mobile Travel Guide. He's worked in North America, the UK, and Africa, and he has been named one of the top 40 under 40 in business in Vancouver, and to one of the list of the top 40 foodies in Western Living magazine. More importantly, he is knowledgeable, he is kind, and he is here for us tonight. Eric Pateman.
Thank you very much, and it's a pleasure to be here. I'm definitely seeing some similarities here. 3 kids, craziness, going into business, and very limited profit margins. So, and a sincere lack of focus in these. For me, this all started in 2004. Needed to come up with, in all honesty, why did I start Edible? I wanted a tax write-off for eating out. My accountant had been giving me a hard time, said nobody can possibly spend that much money in restaurants, but I did. But growing up as a child, I remember fondly walking into my house and you'd smell the smells of the things that have been cooking all day, and it made you hungry. Unfortunately, in my house, it meant all day, and my mom was Scottish. And literally she could cook a turkey for 16 hours and then try and serve it. And I learned how to cook completely out of self-preservation. It was something that literally I grew up with, but they had a cruel sense of humor as well. They loved to eat out, so we traveled lots. They took us to great restaurants, but then we had to go home later. So we knew what we were missing. So as children, I was 12 years old and I had waiter's towels over my arms, doing menus and serving my parents and grandparents, and took my first job in a kitchen when I was 12. So getting paid to eat and drink now has sort of been a lifelong ambition, and being able to do this now is it's amazing. So when I started Edible Vancouver, we literally were the first culinary concierge service in Canada, and it was actually modeled after a company in Paris called Edible Paris. Funnily enough, that was started by a woman from Edmonton. And she was the leading expert on French food and on French culinary tourism. And literally, this was 2004, and one of the first books ever published on culinary tourism came out that year. But nobody really knew what culinary tourism was. Like, everyone eats, everyone drinks, everyone sort of travels, and all of this is part of everyday life. But nobody sort of put that term to it. And nowadays, culinary tourism is huge. I mean, it's they just did a study actually in the U.S. and the travel industry of America, over 60% of tourists over the next 12 months will experience are traveling because of culinary activities. 60%. That's a huge chunk of the population. People. I mean, why is this happening? I mean, people are so excited. Obviously, the advent of the Food Network, celebrity chefs, everyone. Anthony Bourdain. Everybody wants to see what he's going to pop into his mouth next. People get excited by that. You watch, Rob Feeney was our first big chef here in Vancouver on the Food Network, and everyone got excited about watching him on TV. I mean, I still remember watching KCTS 9 and the all-day Saturday food shows, because that's where it started. And now it's just become so ingrained in everyone's life. I mean, at our restaurant, we have the Food Network playing 10 hours a day because people want to watch it. They're eating, they want to watch it on TV. People are excited by it. The growing affluence of the population is huge. We're certainly seeing more and more disposable income, the baby boomers, so people are spending more and more money on food. And therefore, it's allowing businesses like ours to thrive. We were very fortunate just last week. We were actually ranked one of the 500 fastest growing companies in all of Canada.
Oh, cool.
And 20 fastest growing in Vancouver. And for a small culinary concierge business 6 years ago that's now literally growing across the country and expanding, it's amazing to see how you can do that. And I'll talk a little bit about why that's happened. But I think first and foremost, you've got to go back to technology. The advent of the internet has been huge for a business such as ours. How many of you guys have used TripAdvisor when you travel? TripAdvisor is probably one of the leading travel tools for people around the world today. Hundreds of millions of people on a daily basis will use TripAdvisor. 6 years ago, there wasn't a single culinary activity that even registered on TripAdvisor. But today, if you actually look at this across North America, of the top 10 rated activities in cities, in Seattle, 7 of the top 10 rated activities are culinary based.
Yeah.
New York, 5, Portland, 5. In Canada, Toronto, 5 of the top 10. Vancouver, 3 of the top 10. Halifax, 3 of the top 10. Even Saskatchewan, 2 of the top 10. So if you had to guess, there's one part of Canada that does not have a single food-related activity in its top 10 activities. Anyone care to guess where that might be?
Alberta? Yukon?
Winnipeg. You got it. Nothing in Winnipeg, nothing in Manitoba as an entirety. That being said, they've got an amazing culinary culture. You've got the Icelandic culture in Gimli, you've got the pierogies and all of the Ukrainian culture there, the wild rice that's growing there. So everybody's got something to be proud of, but it's taken the population by storm, and Edible Canada has just allowed us to capture that and to really catapult that into a day-to-day business. For us, there's been 2 secrets to our success. One, as we talked about earlier, surround yourself with amazing people. I mean, there's nothing in a business that's more important. We started out as myself in my den closet. We've now got over 90 employees. We've got retail stores in Tofino, the Okanagan, Granville Island, restaurants in the Okanagan and Granville Island. But when I look at what our business is about, it's not about us. We have partnerships that far surpass anything we could do ourselves. When we started this business, we started out with a company called Blue Planet Kayaking, offering gourmet kayaking adventures. Your own private chef who takes you on a 3-day, 2-night culinary trip through the Gulf Islands, 5-course dinners on remote beaches, martinis waiting for you on the beach when you land, cases of wine. We've sold out these trips every year since we started this 6 years ago. It's what began, but we got introduced to this guy who had a kayaking company. He was a chef, and he said, "We need somebody to market this for us. Can you guys help us with this?" And lo and behold, our first trip, we took out a couple journalists from the Vancouver Sun. They brought a couple big bags of weed, and we got a great review. We sold out an entire season's worth of trips in
You
one
understand
article.
we're filming this, right?
I didn't say who the journalists were.
Okay. Dandelions.
It's all about oregano. It's the kitchen, right? So we then decided to open up a retail store. We were leading chef-guided market tours at Granville Island, and Granville Island came to us and said, "You know what do you think is missing at Granville Island?" I said, "I'd love to see a store that focuses more on local products." And so they came to us after about 6 months and said, "We've got a space for you," which nobody gets a space on Granville Island. From a visitation perspective, Granville Island's the 2nd most visited place in all of Canada, next to Niagara Falls. More people will visit Granville Island in a year than will visit the Louvre, the Eiffel Tower, the Grand Canyon. Totally true. Travel and Leisure magazine actually did a ranking of the most visited places in the world, and Granville Island and Pike Place Market are both around 10 to 11 million people a year, and that puts them in the top 20 in the world. What brings people to Granville Island? Food. That being said, 60% of our business is still local. So while in the summertime we definitely see a predominantly tourist-based market, on a year-round basis our business averages up to about 60% of local business. So the local market to us is a big chunk. It's still our bread and butter. So We opened a retail store with 30 suppliers. We now have over 250 artisans that we represent across the country. We had started out with about 100 products. We've now got over 1,000 products. So for us, it's about telling the stories of the other people. We're storytellers. We love to get excited about new products. New people are doing amazing things with what they've got. And for us, we're just a vehicle to showcase that to the rest of the world. Chef market dinners, we invite chefs from across the country into our restaurant. When I had to hire a head chef for a restaurant, I said, there's no ego involved here. You've got to allow whoever you want, whoever wants to come into your kitchen to cook during the day. So we've had everyone from Anna Olson to Michael Smith to Thomas Haas to Vikram Vij in our kitchens cooking. And it creates this amazing sense of community from the Food Network, the sort of food community in Vancouver and across the country. And we even had a young girl in today who's going on a cross-Canada journey to film for the next 4 months the best of Canadian food from coast to coast. She actually just got paid for the last year to write 365 days of food blogging in Richmond. She won a contest to blog for 365 days in a row, and now she's heading out across the country. So for us also, partnerships have involved farmers, the artisans, the retailers, but also some bigger business players. We got partnerships with GM, PowerTech. We installed the first 2 electric vehicle charging stations in the country, free of charge outside of a restaurant. They're now the 2 busiest stations in the country. One, because you can't find parking on Granville Island, so you got to bring your electric car. But it offered us the opportunity to get in front of some pretty cool people. It also gave us the opportunity to partner with Fisker, which was one of the world's first luxury sports car makers with an electric engine. So I think if I was going to leave you guys with anything, it would be, don't be afraid of change, keep ahead of the market, know your audience and identify some very win-win opportunities. Find some cool people to partner with. The more people you can partner with, the more people, artisans, again, anybody you can find out there who's got similar values and similar model. It's amazing what you guys can do as a group as opposed to a bunch of individuals. Create impeccable relationships. My grandfather always used to say, you've only got one reputation in life and don't screw it up. And he's true. It's amazing. Ask Tiger Woods. You got to work pretty hard to screw up relationships, and I think it's important that your reputation is impeccable and always exceed expectations. Truly go out there and look at what opportunities are there and set the bar here and go there. Thank you so much for having me here. It's a pleasure.